Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of
Happy Independence Day!
That's right. It was Independence Day for the folks in Israel this week. Happy Independence Day, everyone over there. I can't. I know it's like might as well be Greek to me. I got a. This might be a weird question, but like your keyboard, like how because I'm such Western civilization mind. How did you do that? Like, how did you get your script up there? Is it like is the keyboards different in Israel? Like, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it for whatever reason.
We actually have two sets of letters on the keyboards.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, cool. That must get confusing for a while.
A lot, yeah. But on the flip side, when I went to London for the first time, and I suddenly noticed that keyboards in other countries don't have a second set of letters, that really confused me.
I can only imagine.
Really, I'm curious. When you go see like a Marvel movie, like Doctor Strange, is it in English or is it in Hebrew?
Almost all movies are in English with Hebrew subtitles, except for a select few, mainly kids movies who are optional to be both in Hebrew and English.
Is that better for you?
In what way?
Personally, is that better for you?
I mean, I don't watch movies in Hebrew unless,
No, I meant like going to the theater and having the movies in English with Hebrew subtitles. Like, would you rather them be in Hebrew, or is it the way you like it? Is it in English?
I always prefer to watch movies in the language that they were intended to be.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of things get lost in translations.
That is true.
And also, coming from someone who has dabbled in voice over work in the past, yeah, Hebrew translations of movies is trash.
One of my favorite things is I have a book here of movie posters from around the world, and reading some of those translations are wild.
Yeah. I mean, I can make a top 50 list of the worst translated movie titles from English to Hebrew.
That would be an interesting list. But that's actually not why we're here. As you can see, I've got a little buddy with me today. This is my dog, Bear, who this will probably be his preferred spot for most of my recording. He's not in that bed, so that should be interesting. But no, we are here to talk about our top five the top five inventions to us. I can't remember. This was 2 weeks ago. I cannot remember why I thought about this list. But this should be an interesting conversation because I know the way mine's structured, while it is personal to me, most of the topics are something that we all have in common. So
I imagine there's going to be at least one or two pets in this one.
Yeah.
I can imagine, but why not? Why not?
What you playing, 50?
Sorry, I'm just, sticking true to the theme of today's list.
Playing with your phone.
No, I was just telling my mom that we started a show, but
oh,
I mean, it does tie into the because we started earlier than usual. That's why.
Yes, we did because I gotta work, and so does 50. All right. Well, anyways, let's just kick it off. It is my list. I'll start. So my number 5 is actually something that is personal to me. It's the saxophone. It's because I've been playing the saxophone now for 23 years. And plus it's big in rock music and stuff like that. But looking back on the history is especially the person who invented it is interesting. His name was Adolf Sax with an E on Adolf. Okay. He was a Belgian inventor, but that's not what's interesting about him. The dude was accident prone. This is from the Wikipedia page. Sax faced many brushes with death. As a child, he once fell from a height of 3 floors, hit his head on a stone, and was believed dead. At the age of 3, he drank a bowl full of acidic water, mistaking it for milk, and later swallowed a pin. He received serious burns from a gunpowder explosion, and once fell onto a hot cast iron frying pan, burning his side. Several times he avoided accidental poisoning and asphyxiation from sleeping in a room where varnished furniture was drying. Another time, young Sax was struck on the head by a cobblestone and fell to a river, almost dying.
What does any of that have to do with a musical instrument exactly?
Nothing. It's fascinating about the guy. It's just like, can you imagine? But think about it. If one of those had worked, I probably wouldn't be in the band.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like, how did the guy went through all that and is like, I'm gonna invent a musical instrument? Like,
Well, he actually invented quite a few musical instruments. It's just the saxophone is the one that's famous because it has his name in it. But he did
oh,
invent a lot of other instruments, including the sax trombo, which has got like the baritone euphonium instruments in there, which is also a major part of the band. Um, yeah, and his parents were also inventors. But yeah, it's the saxophone in particular, just because it's an instrument that you can plug into anything really. Play in a community band, you can play in big bands, you can play in rock and roll bands, you can do panhandling on the street with it. Like, it's a great instrument, and like you said, it's personal to me because I've been playing it for 20 years, and it's part of my username on most things. Soda the Sax Man.
Can I ask you a question that I should have asked you before?
Mm-hmm.
What got you into the saxophone?
Well, it was
from
just
time?
it was just it was time to start band in sixth grade, and I everyone, it's the saxophone. It's so cool, right? That's just basically how I started. I stuck with it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I don't know what it's like down there, but I know in sixth grade is when they start band.
Yeah, well, it's not a mandatory class for us as an elective, but yeah,
Yeah,
same
it was an
thing.
elective for us too, for sure. But I mean, like in sixth grade was when that started. That was introduced.
Yeah, same here.
What about you, 50? Did they do anything like that over there in your school?
Not really, which is a plus for me because I have no musical talent whatsoever. But in elementary school, there was, I believe, music class. Where
Oh
really all it was is just learning about musical instruments and songs and just preparing for all these school holiday performances and ceremonies,
yeah.
which thankfully I never took part in. So, yeah, even better for me.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, that's my number five is the saxophone, just because it's something I've big part of my life, and I don't know. I found I found Adolf Sax's history a little funny and interesting. Well, not funny, but wild and interesting.
It is,
Finally, Adolf
it,
made something good in the world.
Mm.
yeah, interesting. We don't hear a lot of the name Adolf
Well,
for
that's
a
actually not
while
his
now.
birth. His birth name was Antoine Joseph, which I don't know where Adolf came from.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. All right. And what's interesting is both his parents were Charles Joseph and his mom was Marie Joseph. Interesting. Must have been Catholic. Okay. All right, Ben, you're number five.
Well, I'm going to stick on the music theme of it. Is the iPod and MP3 player. Is the thing that really changed the game in music the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, would
Yeah,
you say?
it's about 20 years. Yeah.
I mean, do you remember when that came out? When Steve Jobs made that announcement, no one knew what to make of it. 1,000 songs on one single player? Come on, it was pretty unbelievable. But because of it, we have a lot of stuff. What are your thoughts about the iPod and MP3 players?
I agree. It definitely changed the music learning game because I'm old enough to remember walking in high school with a Discman
Me too.
and having to change discs all the time and stuff like that. Yeah, once the MP3 player came about, yeah, it completely changed the game. I still remember the prehistoric days of the MP3 player where you'd get a cheap one and it could only hold like 15 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of those. But yeah, no, like looking on my phone now, I've got probably 1,000 songs downloaded there, and that's not all my music.
50,
Um,
what did you think?
I'm actually wondering if I should have punted this, but now let's save it for my entry on the list. But regardless, yeah, I hadn't. That's not one of the things I specifically thought about, which is why I didn't punt it. But yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it really did revolutionize the music listening part of our lives, at least for
Mhm.
a few years before smartphones came out. Now, I didn't specifically had one like that was my own. I usually just got one that my much more richer friend didn't need anymore because he got a brand new one, so he just gave me his. But that's beside the point. Yeah, this was definitely a game changer. I remember all the in my that specific period of high school. But yeah, I mean, it paved the way to a lot of how we view music today, and several entries on my list. But normally, I don't usually use that anymore. If I want to listen to a music, I just go on YouTube, and for the most part, I don't like walk around with music in my ears.
Oh, really?
I walk around with something else in my ears, which I will save for when it's time for my entry on
And
the
I
list.
know, I think I know what that is.
You might.
Yeah. Alrighty, 50. It's your number 5.
So yeah, my list ended up being the most boring, generic list I have ever had on this show. Mostly because I probably didn't quite understand the assignment. So I just went with, well, when you said thing inventions and gadgets we couldn't live without, my brain was like, what? So pacemakers? Because some people literally could not live without those. So yeah, that's more or less the direction that I went, and I'm gonna break this streak of music because, as previously mentioned, I have no musical talent whatsoever, and so but something that I do find myself um, using a lot in my day-to-day life is I like tea a lot.
Oh,
So there's the concept of having an automated uh, way to boil water without having to go through the tedious having to put it on flames. Yeah, I like tea, so this is my invention. But I gotta ask you guys, what exactly do you have a name for it? Because I believe I know from some British show that I like to watch that they call it a catalan. Is
so
this
over here, it's just an electric kettle.
Yeah.
so?
Same
Yeah,
here.
electric kettle is my number 5. Electric
The electric kettle.
yeah.
Hey, Ben. It's, you know what? It's important to use. So it's pretty cool. I'm
Yeah,
not.
and
I'm not a tea drinker. I could never get into it. Not that I've tried, just not for me.
I like tea. I like tea. I like green tea personally.
I
I
like
love Earl
iced tea.
Grey.
I like iced tea. That's my thing.
Right.
I guess this more or less sets the tone for the rest of my list. So you kind of should know from now, where this is going from now on.
That's okay. All right. So my number 4 is actually something that 59 can agree on. Not so much, but it's gaming consoles.
Punt.
Hmm.
Okay then.
My number 4 is something that everybody uses, but I can't really use, but I appreciate how and what people use it for. Is cars.
Right. Yeah. No. It's amazing because I was looking up lists of inventions of that, and one of them was the internal combustion engine. And just think, we've been surrounded by cars for so long that the concept of car is not that old.
Right.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things,
Mhm.
in the grand calculus of the multiverse,
Yeah.
You
quote a
know?
movie. That came
Yeah.
out.
Because the internal combustion engine has only been around since the late 1800s.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, 50, after you.
No, I said less than 200 years. That's all I said.
And we're getting pretty close to self-driving cars, too. Which is pretty wild in its own
Yep.
thing.
I'd rather still do the backing up of a car myself. But
Well,
yeah,
some things a computer just can't replicate, as well as a human brain can.
am I the only one here with a driver's license?
I have one that I don't use because I just don't. Don't.
No comment.
Cars are expensive,
Yes, they are.
and fuel, and insurances,
It cost me
and
a
all
hundred.
kinds of other bullshit. That's why I don't have a car.
It cost me $120 Canadian to fill up my tank yesterday.
Ooh.
When before, from the same spot, probably would have been $80, $90.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a Chevy Equinox. It's just I waited, and normally I run the quarter tank is when I have a quarter tank left, so when I fuel up. But this time I waited till it was almost empty.
You went the Kramer route, trying to see how long you can go on E before you run out of gas.
Oh no, I'm not that crazy. I'm more like my dad. He'll do some driving. He'll come back in town and fuel up. He does it all the time. I'm not as extreme. I usually go until I got a 3/4 of the tank is done. Then that's like my sweet spot.
Gotcha.
I'm such a car illiterate. Like, I can name you every single car manufacturer just looking at the logo, but other than that, I know nothing about cars.
Oh yeah,
So
me neither.
when people just walk up to me, it's like, so if you had the option, what kind of car would you like to have? And I'm always like, a flying one. Duh. Like, why wouldn't you want to have a flying car?
Right.
But it's more of a joke. It's been, like I said, I don't drive, so
Speaking of which, I just picked up the Jetsons yesterday for very cheap. The entire series,
Oh, nice. I
$25
like
for
that.
the entire series.
Have you
Well-
ever seen? Have you ever seen the Family Guy cutaway parody of that?
Yes, I just don't remember what's in it. I've definitely seen it. Yeah.
It's the same intro basically, but there's a little addition where after the train goes down, goes up, and they have like a little
Yes.
They
have an argument about the money.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have something to bring up.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
We've hit that mark.
There.
So what do you know?
Alrighty, 50. What's your number 4?
Again, keeping with the theme of boring stuff on my list, I just have my tablet, which is surprisingly still working, despite the fact that I bought it in like 2017 or something like that. I didn't even. This was before my YouTube channel, by the way. This is before I became a YouTube personality. So it's that old,
Oh wow.
and it's still working. And it's still working better than my phone. Doesn't have the best battery capacity at the moment, but it's still very usable. It gets me around. Now, it does all the YouTubes and all the Googles and stuff I need from it. I sometimes watch shows on this thing, which is better than watching it on your phone. I will never understand people who watch TV shows on their phone. Like, it's such a tiny screen. How could you even watch anything like that? But yeah, I do shows. I watch shows, YouTube videos, and most importantly, well, also it helps me out a lot with my Twitch stuff. So yeah, only on Twitch, by the way. But I do a lot of audiobooks on this thing, and a lot of Doctor Who Big Finish episodes on this thing. And it's really great. I just connected with Bluetooth to my headphones, which are on my honorable mentions for this list. Put this thing in my backpack, and I can just listen to books and Doctor Who episodes just by walking down the street. And that's why I tend to prefer listening to audiobooks and like audio episodes on audio form. I prefer it to actually reading books because you can actually experience books that way in ways you couldn't in physical form. Like for books you have to actually sit down and read it, and sometimes the pages get torn and they get dirty, and books, no surprise there, it's made of wood, they deteriorate over time. So yeah, that, and audio doesn't, which is just perfect for me. I can listen to it while walking, I can do other stuff while listening to books. That's why I'm going to continue this. You and I sort of going to have this continuous conversation, this continuous argument. Digital is always better than physical. I mean, I'm gonna harp on that till the day I die.
Look, I understand the benefit of digital. Don't get me wrong, because I do use digital quite a bit. But one thing I've noticed, I realized a long time ago, is that when it comes to streaming sites, they're leasing the movies. They're not permanently on there. So if I want to watch something and I don't have access to it, I'm screwed. That's why I have one of the main reasons I have a big collection. If I want to watch something that's not streaming, at least I've got it to watch.
Well, I suppose that in that direction, it sort of depends on the service itself because as I mentioned, I do Big Finish audios on this.
Right, you
and
do audiobooks, which I'm surprised you don't do that on your phone instead of your tablet.
Spoilers, but um, if you actually get the Big Finish app, if you buy something, you own it forever. The same thing
Right.
with Audible. So that movie streaming sites and streaming services, totally different thing. Understandable. So like it's like sort of like a Netflix original movie.
Yeah.
It's gonna stay on Netflix for the rest of time. Other stuff, it's a bit shaky. That's why I prefer.
With movies, I'm only like that. With video games and music, I buy digital.
Yeah, always go digital
Yeah.
on certain things like video games and like audiobooks because
Yeah.
I mean it's there forever and you download it and if you run out of space you can just delete it
Mm.
and then download it again without having to pay for it again, which is like the best thing ever.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
the best deal, the best bang for your buck.
One
You
of the
pay for
things
it once and that's it.
one of the great things about physical media, about movies especially, is that the bonus features. You don't get a lot of that with digital. Think about all
Yeah, that's always been the downgrade,
I would
in
learn
my
as much
opinion.
about the movies as I have watching the bonus features or listening to the director's commentary or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really the only downgrade I can see
Yeah,
in that regard. I wish they would release the bonus features on
Disney
certain.
Plus is the only one that does. Disney
Oh.
Plus is the only one that has the extras.
And
That's good.
iTunes. And iTunes. Like if you buy a
No, but
movie.
yeah, right. iTunes, yeah, you buy them, you get the extras. But I mean, like in terms of just streaming,
Oh,
like most
Yeah.
times it's just the movie. But Disney is the only one that has. You have the extras menu, and you'll have documentaries. You'll have the trailers. I think you'll even have the occasional movie commentary.
yeah.
Well, thank you for telling me. I did not know that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's good to know.
Yep.
And we have a request from someone in the chat. Send some
I'll,
gas.
I'll do my best. 50's mom. All right. So, it's my turn now. Okay. So my number 3 is we actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but it's the movie camera, the motion picture camera. When I was talking about Louis Le Prince,
Right.
because just think about it. If he, like, I mean, I'm sure Thomas Edison would have stepped in and eventually done it, even though he tried to steal it. Without the invention of the motion picture, I don't think entertainment would be the way it is at all.
Yeah, I know you're 100% right. And yeah, there would be no movie or trivia Slowdown too.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, we could still be exactly where we are right now, but there's also the high chance that if Louis Le Prince hadn't done this, we'd be behind in terms of the evolution of the movie camera. But it's one of those things, like if you look back in the history, it afforded a cheap opportunity for families to go out and have some fun for a couple hours, forget about the world.
Hold on. Did you say cheap?
I said if you go back in history, Ben,
Relatively for its time.
relative first time, it was like 10 cents to go see a Nickelodeon picture.
Yeah, I don't know about Canada, but
I'm not commenting on today. No. Although in my theater, it's still cheaper. But no, if you go back in time, it was 10 cents to get into a movie, and you'd get, 2 movies, a newsreel, some cartoons, and you would sit there and you'd spend your day and you'd have fun. And that's basically what movies are all about. It's going in.
It's a night out.
It's a night out.
In any way, sense of the word.
Yeah. And then, like, fast forward to where we are today, we've got movies like Doctor Strange, the Batman that just came out, Star Wars, Avatar, which is the sequel, is finally coming out. I won't believe it till I see it in theaters. It's important that.
Let me ask you guys a question. Talking about movies. You have a plane ticket to go to a theater. They're going to show you any movie you want that you have seen that you most likely have never seen in a
Go on.
theater. What movie do you choose?
Raiders. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Even though Last Crusade's my favorite, it's Raiders.
50?
I'm sorry. What was the question exactly?
If you had a golden ticket to see any movie in theaters that you've never seen in the theater before, what would it be? The Lion King. Really? You never gone? I guess they never really did any.
I was too young to watch it in theaters when it came out,
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
and I missed it both times it got a re-release. Can't remember what I did wrong the first time, but the second time was it was released for a very short, limited time. Immediately after I joined the military and couldn't really go anywhere for a few weeks, few months. So yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
I saw the live action one 5 or 6 times in the theaters. Never saw the original anime one in the movie theaters.
I remember watching that animated one.
Me too.
It wasn't quite a movie in the theater.
You know what, 50? Don't be surprised if for the 30th they do it again. We're coming up on that.
I mean, I said to myself after I missed out on the second one, I said when, not if, when they do a re-release of that, I have to go.
Mm.
And I think they recently to celebrate the movie theaters being open again, and which coincided with the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. They did a re-release of, I believe, the first 2 movies or just the first one in theaters around here. So
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on my boy Simba, but yeah. However, if given the chance, if given a time machine, the number one movie I would love to have seen it, the reaction from the people for the very first time in theaters is obviously Empire Strikes Back. Knowing what we know,
I would actually go New Hope. Because think New Hope is the first time anybody had ever seen anything like that. Don't get me wrong, Empire is a great choice. But
yeah, I'm not debating the quality of the movies. I'm just saying the theater reaction to a certain moment that happens. That's the one I want to see people reacting to for the first time.
Which was big? Which you think was bigger, that moment or On Your Left?
Oh, the Vader moment. The Vader moment.
The Vader moment, I mean, because there really wasn't, aside from like maybe Planet of the Apes, there wasn't that kind of a moment yet in movie history. As opposed to nowadays where we just get it every other weekend.
On Your Left is huge amongst nerds, whereas No, I Am Your Father penetrated the pop culture zeitgeist.
I was about to say that. On Your Left, us movie comic book fans love that moment. No, exactly what you said. No, I Am Your Father is one of the great moments in all of cinema history.
Yeah.
Entertainment history.
And
to this day, you get people who've never seen Star Wars watching it for the first time, and people recording their reactions and posting it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really get that as much with On Your Left. And plus, there's a difference between just complete shock, pulling the rug under your feet, changing the entire course of the story you thought you knew, as opposed to the explosive, joyous, happy moment of.
Actually, I've got a better comparison. I do have a better comparison, but it's from Infinity War instead. It's the very end. It's when Thanos snaps, and Captain America is like, "Oh shit!" I think those two are more comparable.
Yeah,
because they both did listen the same. Because I remember walking out of the theater for Infinity War. I don't know about you guys, in shock. I'm like, I can't believe they ended it like that.
Okay, but let me ask you. You felt that way, but. Do you know anybody who wasn't up to date with the MCU who saw that movie who felt the same way you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, because it's very rare you see a movie end on a downbeat like that.
Okay,
And
I like
but
that.
here,
That's
here's here's the point I was going to make earlier, and thankfully, Soda, you interrupted me at the exact perfect moment, so that I can still make the argument make sense. No, that's not it's not a diss. That's a good thing you did that when you did,
Yeah, sorry.
because no. It's good because it even proves my point even further, because both On Your Left and The Snap are moments from a franchise we've been following for 10 years, and
Yeah,
there's stuff in the comics going back decades for. No, I Am Your Father. That's the second movie,
that's
so
right.
that's why
Yeah.
I think if it affected people more in 1980 than those two movies did in 2018, 2019. So yeah,
it.
you interrupted me at the exact perfect moment for me to elevate my argument even further. So I thank you for that.
But I have a question. I have a question about No, I Am Your Father. If somebody is watching Star Wars for the first time, and they're going in chronological order from episode 1 to episode 9, does that moment lose anything in translation?
It does, in my opinion. Which again, in my opinion, if someone who has never seen Star Wars, for that moment to work, they have to start with the original trilogy for that moment to impact them the way that it does. And I have this friend who's like, yeah, I don't watch old movies. I can't keep up with old movies. Old movies suck. So yeah, anything anything pre 2000s is like old movie. He doesn't watch it. So I said to him, okay, so here's I'll make you a deal. Watch Rogue One first, and if you like it, go back and watch the older ones from the 70s and 80s and see how you feel. Because I want him to start that way, because that way the impact of I Am Your Father makes all the
Right.
more sense.
And also Rogue One, this is one of the things I really liked about it. They replicated everything like set wise from from Star Wars and Empire and stuff. So I think that's a great that's a
And
great
you know what the
suggestion.
best part? You know what the best part about that movie is, that in this context specifically, is that it does not spoil the original trilogy. Like as far as you know, Vader is just a random villain who just happened to be there.
Yep. This is the
You don't
entire
know who
concept of
Leia
that
is. You
movie
have
is
no idea who Luke is.
yeah, the entire concept of the movie is from one throwaway line in the original opening scroll.
Yeah, that's why it's so perfect, because it's a perfect gateway to people who've never seen Star Wars without actually spoiling the entire saga for it. That's why I love that movie so much. Well,
So
among other things, but
let me ask you real quick, and then we'll move on to my number 3. That whole that is the best scene in that movie, right?
Yeah, it's up there.
it's the best scene in the movie, but it's a great movie nonetheless. So
Agreed.
I don't see what you were going for. I mean, people should watch that movie for the movie, not for the final scene.
No,
No, but I mean, like just looking at it after seeing the movie, like it's a badass scene.
One of the best scenes in all of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's a great Vader scene also. That's like for me, people who don't know Star Wars, they don't understand how big of a threat Vader is. I show them that scene from Rogue One, and I show them Vader just wiping the floor with Ezra and Kanan in Rebels.
Yeah.
To show them how big of a threat Vader is.
Have you seen that hallway scene, but instead of the traditional music and the immigrant song?
Yes, I have seen that.
No, I did not. Send it to
It's
me immediately.
holy shit! It's rock and roll, man. It's rock and roll.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'll send it to you after the show. Okay, my number 3 is something we can't live without these days. The invention of this really changed the game. You can now communicate to people across the country. It's your phone.
Want
Okay.
Wow, it's gonna be pretty on your list, my friend.
It's like I said, it's a very generic, boring list. Like I couldn't quite think of anything too exciting. So yeah, which goes to show whether further my point. My number three is the pun from earlier: gaming consoles, whether it's the PlayStations or the Xboxes or
Nintendo.
the DSs or the Nintendo Switches of the world. Like I'm sorry, that's just the kind of person I am. I couldn't live without these. Like, oh, and Ben is flexing on us with his Game Boy,
Very nice.
the granddaddy of the one that
I
started it
never
all.
really owned any portable video game machines. Never really did.
Me neither until fairly recently, and
I,
it's
I think
not.
I know I owned a Game Boy Color for a little bit when I was a kid, but that's about it. It's mostly been the TV ones.
This is my favorite game too.
Oh, Tetris is so much fun.
Tetris. Yeah, I never owned portable gaming consoles because I didn't much see the need for them. I always much preferred a well, we'll get to that on my list, but oh shit, wait a minute. I think I might have made an oopsie on my list. Anyways, regardless, I always preferred a computer
Mm.
or just the PlayStation that I had. I never saw the value in portable gaming consoles until fairly recently. When I had a job and I realized you can't play on your PlayStation on the bus to work, but you can play this on the bus to work. So
No, video games like growing up, I can't stop. Your mom called you out, 50.
um, I'm not sure what she's. That's not a gaming console. We'll talk
But
about it.
but that is a unique thing to the video game console, though. Very
The
unique. I don't think.
gamepad.
Yeah,
Uh,
the idea behind it. I don't think I've seen it before or since.
it was introduced in Skylanders, I believe, which came out a couple of
Oh,
years
I
earlier,
guess it was. Yeah, I forgot how big those were.
and was followed up by Disney Infinity. And like, in my opinion, the Lego Dimensions thing is like the ultimate level of it, which is a shame they never really expanded on it
Yeah.
too much. And the game was canceled prematurely after that. But yeah, thanks, Mom, for reminding me of that. But
Yeah, I've never really been much computer. I've primarily been console. Like I've owned the Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, NES, PlayStation 1, 2. Like that's more me. I would say my favorite after all this time is still the PlayStation 2.
My favorite is either the Game Boy, like I have, or the Super Nintendo, man. That Super Nintendo.
There's something
Ooh.
about the Super Nintendo. I remember getting lost for hours growing up. Like no joke, took me 3 years to beat Super Mario World the first time because I was trying to find everything, and also I was really young. But now I can beat it in like under 3 hours.
I love that game.
I never had a Super Nintendo either. I think most of those non-portable Nintendo consoles didn't really work as well over here.
Oh,
But maybe I'm just misremembering stuff. It was always like either the PlayStation or the Xbox that dominated the gaming scene. I don't even think these were as big as any of those consoles around here. It's really only this thing that really worked on this side
is
of the
that a
pond.
DS?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's
And again, I never had one of those because A, I never saw the value in these, and B, they never quite blew up over here as well as they did overseas, which is why I specifically had to buy this one on eBay last year or something like that, just to play some Pokemon games that I missed out on.
Okay, but I'm curious. Have you just started doing portable game systems? What was your very first Pokemon game?
My very first Pokemon game was Pokemon Red on my tablet with an emulator.
Oh wow!
okay.
Okay, all right, nice.
Which again, it goes back to my number 4 pick. But the first time I actually properly played a, for my experience, new Pokemon game on a console it was specifically designed for was Let's Go Pikachu on the Nintendo Switch.
Okay, wow.
Oh, wow. All right, so now we're on to my number 2.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would like to make a small amendment to my number 3 because as per usual, I messed up my list again. I would like to also throw computer into the number 3 list.
So
For gaming reasons, but for other reasons.
In general, then.
What?
Basically, just video games in general.
Yes, but I use computers for much more than video games these days.
Right.
So I suppose it should have been my number 3 in gaming consoles, my number 4 in tablet, number 5, which means we can get rid of this thing on my list. But yeah, this is my new list. My new list is tablet number 5, gaming consoles number 4, computer number 3.
So my number 2, well, technically not the first, the most important. Dun, 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 Superman.
How is that an invention?
Because without Superman, we wouldn't have Batman, we wouldn't have Wonder Woman, we wouldn't have the age we're living in. 50 wouldn't have that poster behind him. I wouldn't have 2 things of comic books beside me. You had, like, no joke, Superman is the most important, one of the most important literary characters in history. He wasn't the first. Technically,
I think
Phantom is the first.
I think it kind of stretches the definition of the word invention.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
It does it because they did try it for a few years. The original concept of the Superman was an evil scientist who was trying to take over the world, and they evolved it over a few years like you do Inventions.
Okay.
The debut of Superman invented the superhero genre.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, it stretches the definition of the word invention.
Not really. No, not as much as you think, because a lot of these things that have been invented on our list, they were invented, and the same thing happened with them as Superman. It's like, I want the next that. That's how Batman came about. Superman's a success. Let's try to replicate that. And that's where Batman came from. That's where Wonder Woman came from. That's where the Green Lantern came from. That's where the Flash came from. Doctor Strange. It's just one of those things. It's a moment in time that needed to happen, and it did. Because, like I said,
I guess my brain just wasn't thinking along the lines of inventions in that particular way.
That's fair. Because, like I said, think about it. If Action Comics number 1 doesn't get released, we wouldn't have a lot of this stuff.
True.
Yeah.
I know. Well, that's for another day. But
it wasn't the first. The Phantom was technically the first, but this is the one that caught everyone's attention and just launched it into another. Everything was smooth from there.
Popularized it, put it on the map.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, in a way, we wouldn't have had the conversation we had earlier, like Star Wars, because of Superman and the rise of comic book media. That's where Jack Kirby's Fourth World came from, which was one of the many inspirations for Star Wars. And I suppose, in a way, it really influenced not just superheroes, but sci-fi.
Yeah, and then, like, Superman was also the first superhero movie.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work, we won't get Batman 89.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great pick.
Superman, like I said, he's a lot of people. Oh, it's Superman. He's all powerful. No, Superman is actually very important.
I really
people take Superman for granted way too much these days.
Exactly, and for those people, I recommend reading Superman Grounded. He just walks around America trying to solve problems when he realizes he's become out of touch with.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good two-parter by J. Michael Straczynski. All right, Ben, what's your number 2?
It's something that we do every day, and something that entertains us.
Poop.
That's where I was going. Wait,
what?
I said poop.
Yeah, the invention of the toilet.
I was going to say TV.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a punt. That's another punt for me. Sorry.
Okay.
Ow, we're on our second picks. The last picks.
Make an educated guess.
Okay. What's your number 2 then?
As mentioned earlier, what the hell did I put that? Yeah, phones.
Mm.
Yeah, again, I would like to make an amendment because my original, well, not original, but what should have been my number 3 would have been computers, but, well, phone is sort of a mini computer. I mean, it does more than that, just the ability to communicate with people uh, from a distance and now from around the world. You've got cameras in it, you can take pictures. It's sort of so many other inventions in one.
Hmm.
And you can not only take phone calls, you can send messages. As previously mentioned, you can watch YouTube videos on it. You can,
Yep.
and even, yeah, we all have, most of us have these. And to answer your question from before, Soda, very recently I also downloaded the Big Finish app. So now I can actually listen to Doctor Who episodes at work because I
Yeah.
can't bring my tablet with
Well,
me
that's the
to
thing I was
wherever it
wondering
is
because
I'm
you said
going.
earlier your tablet doesn't have much battery life, but you're taking it for walks and listening to audiobooks. I'm like, well, this isn't on your phone.
Yeah, my phone does because I have so many other things on my phone and so much less things on my tablet. It's way easier because these things take up space, so it's much easier to do it the big heavier ones on the
Oh, that's fair.
tablet and the smaller ones on my phone.
That's fair.
And also, yeah, and I see I'm listening to Big Finish stuff on my phone because, well, or rather, much to the dismay of my coworkers because they don't understand what's going on. But yeah.
Which one you listen
I only use
to?
the phone because I use it in specific locations where um, I need it. I can't use my tablet.
No, that's fair. What Big Finish are you listening to right now?
Well, right now I downloaded this thing called Destiny of the Doctors, which is like a sort of 50th anniversary celebration. It's got a story for each individual doctor except Capaldi and Whitaker, and I suppose Martin as well. And I think maybe also without John Hurt, but yeah, one story for each doctor, culminating in a story combining all the doctors together. So yeah,
Nice.
but yeah, like I said, I listen to the big heavy box sets on my tablet for
Mm.
space reasons, like the Gallifrey series, like the Diary of River Song, like uh, the War Doctor, the Ninth Doctor, and I listen to the much smaller monthly adventures of the classic era Doctors on my phone because they're shorter and much more digestible, and I can't listen to one on a full day at work.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
fair.
ones that actually require me to walk a considerable amount of distance, like walking on foot from the movie theater all the way to my house, I listen to these bigger ones on the tablet, like I do also with some books and novels that I read.
No,
I listen
all
to.
for me, all that is on my phone. Like I'm if I'm out, I've usually got headphones in my ears, listening to something. So, fun fact, you know what the very first words spoken by Alexander Graham Bell were on the telephone?
Watson, come here, I need you.
Shit, wrong number. Okay. Sorry.
Ha 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 ha! You is funny.
I tried. I
You
haven't
made
had
that.
coffee
You made that funny.
yet. I tried.
I
Okay.
like that. I like that.
Let me spoil the joke for you. That term hasn't even been coined yet. So
Shit, wrong number? Yeah, no, I know 50 was a joke.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. So if you have any honorable mentions, speak now, forever hold your peace. I do not have any.
Well, like I said, keeping with the theme of the boring stuff on my list, like I said earlier, I have my headphones. I have microwaves, refrigerators, toilets, all the general inventions that we all use today and take for granted. Like even, hold on, microphones,
Mm,
which all three of us happen to be using right now.
yep. This mine's off camera right here. But, Ben, what about you?
Records, cassette tapes, laserdiscs, video games, smart assistants, light bulbs, and power.
Very practical. Speaking of practical, so it's time for number one. So my number one, basically, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't be doing this right now. The internet.
Oh shit, that's my number one too.
We know it's not 50s.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I was thinking about that with building my list. It's just, yeah, there's a lot of bad on the internet, but there's a lot of good too because we would never have met if we didn't have the internet.
Exactly. And try going a day without the internet. You'll be surprised
No.
how much you lose when you can't use it.
Yeah. We become that is one of the downfalls. We have become so dependent on it, but the good does outweigh the bad, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the reason it's not on my list is because mainly I was going more for the tangible, physical term of inventions. I wasn't even thinking, like with Superman, I wasn't even thinking with that direction. So I had to defend myself for that.
Yeah, but like I said, it allows us the opportunity to do this, to become friends. For Ben, it allowed you to see movies that you couldn't see just yet, right? 50, it allows you to be able to catch up on the rest of the things that you like because you don't live in a part of the world where they gets released, like Disney Plus or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it allows 50 to listen to his Big Finish. It allows me to watch my wrestling YouTube videos. It allows me, now I can, because of the advent of the internet, I can go back and watch as many of the old wrestling matches that I enjoy wrestling to learn. So, I mean, it's got the immense capabilities are endless.
It gave me a social life in the last 2 years of the pandemic, and I'll never take that for granted.
Yeah, because of that, I can now say I have friends in Israel, I have friends in New Zealand, I have friends in England. Couldn't have said that 2 years ago.
Don't forget about Los Angeles, my man.
Right. But that's still part of North America. I'm going more into
Yeah, it would be nice to be mentioned. That's all I'm
and
saying.
Los Angeles, Ben. You know you're.
Well, I mean, Soda, to bring it back to a conversation we had off camera yesterday, is Los Angeles really North America or is it just South Canada?
Wait, what the fuck?
I don't want to get too.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you missed out on that one, Ben. But yeah, we had a conversation.
Yeah, we were talking because one of the guys says, "Yeah, if I had the chance, I'd move to Canada."
Okay.
It's just based on all the shit show going on in the States right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't defend that.
All right, Benny boy, what's your number one?
Well, the internet. He said it.
Yeah.
What's your number one?
Well, my number one again because I was thinking more tangible stuff. I went with the television. Like, I was born in front of a television. I'm in front of a television right now, and I will probably die in front of a television.
I like to joke that television raised me, which it kind of did.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
I was raised by television as well because, again, going back home from school, I'm alone in my alone in the house. No one to tell me no. No one to tell me to stop watching.
I see it.
I'm just giving a visual aid.
Vanna White, yes.
But yeah, I mean, television did raise all of us in a way. We grew up on shows like the Doctor Who's of the world and like the Supermans of the world, like a lot of the other stuff we know. A lot of the stuff we mentioned on our list today, we kind of learned by staring at either a television screen or just a screen in general. And I think thanks to television, if we weren't for television, we wouldn't have screens on a computer. We wouldn't have screens on gaming consoles, on phones, on tablets. So yeah, television was much more revolutionary than we believe. It's
One hundred
evolutionary.
percent. 100%. It's definitely one that does deserve to be on top of the list for sure. Because it's another one. If you go back and look at history, it afforded, like you had this with the radio, but more so with television. It afforded the family to have a family night without having to go out and enjoy things. And because before you would sit around the radio and you would listen to your sports and you would listen to My Favorite Brunette, which is like a precursor to I Love Lucy and like soap operas and stuff like that. But it wasn't with the advent of television where you were like, so that's what that looks like. Because of television, people were to see a lot of people who'd never seen a live professional sports game were able to see a live professional sports game. Now you can watch situation comedies, and then of course you got the news, and it's just, you're right. It is definitely it's up there with one of the most important inventions in history.
Yeah. And it also, because of television, we now have the greatest show in the galaxy, Doctor Who.
Yep. Yep. Which you're pointing at
And
the store
keep
helmet.
with the and keep I was
I know, I'm just bugging you. I'm bugging you.
but yeah, going back to previous conversation, it allows us to rewatch movies we haven't we that were because back in the day, movies were in theaters for a
Mhm.
limited amount of time and then they were gone. And
Yep.
thanks to the progression of television, you can watch Star Wars and Superman on your television nowadays that
Yep.
you can't.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future,
Yeah,
Rocky, Indiana
yeah,
Jones.
that
Yeah,
you can
Ain't
watch
living
those.
free.
they date like a freaks. Yeah, Twister. That's mine lately.
The Lion King. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, 50. I was waiting for that.
All right, folks. Now's the end of our show. So the new list for next week.
Is my topic, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, last episode I should say, I mentioned that one of the characters that I one of the fictional characters that I would love to visit was the character of Leela, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that conversation went very very well in my household after the fact. But yeah, I also mentioned that I sometimes like to watch movies explaining the plot to Leela, who is by all accounts a primitive character, but she is incredibly intelligent considering her upbringing, and that's why she translates things that she can't understand into concepts she's familiar with, which actually did give me an idea for a for my next topic: characters you would like to watch movies with. Fictional characters, and I suppose historical characters who were born before the invention of a motion picture or a television show. That if they understood the concept of what a movie is, uh, you would love to have sit on the couch with you and explain to them the cultural significance of certain movies. You know, stuff from modern day planet Earth that they wouldn't have understood because of where they came from, because they come from another planet or so far away in the past that these things are irrelevant to them, or so far away in the future that they don't know what movies are. So, like Leela. So, yeah, just characters you would love to sit down and watch a movie with, but characters that don't necessarily understand what movies are, so you can have a conversation. Because I like explaining things to people because I find that I learn about these things that I'm explaining more so when I'm actually explaining it to someone who isn't uh, as well versed in it as I am. So
That should be interesting. It's not a hard list,
Yeah.
but interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up the show because there's a reason we're doing this early and because work's coming up. So, Ben, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at my Twitter, Ben_radio. You can find me on my YouTube channel, The Multiverse of Geekdom, every Wednesday on Jedi Academy, every Friday on the Weekly Geekdom, every Sunday on One with Ben, and starting Monday, a new show, the Dissecting the MTF, brought to you by the Multiverse of Geekdom. That's going to be on Showdown Show every Monday at at 10 or 11 a.m. Not sure yet. You guys can also find me right here on the Northern Entertainment Group every Thursday with Soda here on E1.8 and every Saturday right here.
All right, and 50, my friend. What about you?
You can find me every Monday on the greatest show in the galaxy, talking about the greatest show in the galaxy, Doctor Who. You can find me every Sunday/Saturday with these two wonderful gentlemen on Northern Countdown. You can also find me on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. I do trailer reactions, and I just dropped my review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I also have a Twitch channel where I play Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, and I finally finished the original trilogy, and I can't wait to start the sequel trilogy. Said nobody
You don't wanna
ever.
know where I am.
So that's why I didn't ask. But yeah, you can also find, if you are a member of John Roca's Patreon, me and my good buddy Soda just had another trivia match on there last night, and to see how badly I did, go there and check it out.
Remember, 50, there was a hard question that you were the only one who got right.
Don't spoil the thing.
Okay. And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram at soda_the_saxman. You can find me on all the shows that these two have mentioned on this channel because I do them with these two fine gentlemen. You can also find me over Wednesday nights on the Squared Slice where my friend Dustin and I, we just discuss wrestling because we love wrestling. And you can also find me on Saturdays at 2:30 Pacific, so in a couple hours, on the Dropkicks, which is over on the Let's Get Ready Network. It's the wrestling show over there. And nowadays you can find me taking care of this little guy. So on behalf of myself, Ben, 50, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Tell us what are some of your favorite inventions throughout history, and we will see you next week on Northern Countdown. Have a good